personalised connected care technology, and we're doing this webinar today with Helen Sanson Associates, and my name is Michelle Livesley, and I'm delighted to be co-delivering this webinar with Lowry Jones from Tunstall, who are experts in connected care technology. So today we want to share what's possible when we combine outcome-focused planning with assistive technology solutions. One of the biggest challenges to providers right now is being able to deliver high-quality, personalised care and support within existing resources. Most providers have and continue to be required to reduce the cost of service delivery whilst being expected to deliver high outcomes as well. So therefore, we need to come up with different ways of doing things than we've done in the past. Another question that we need to consider is how can providers support people to achieve their outcomes and provide alternatives to just paid support? The Coalition for Collaborative Care developed best practice statements for care and support planning, and one of them said that people should be encouraged to think creatively about ways to achieve outcomes. So the process that we'll share with you today helps us to do just this. Now, keeping people at the centre of service design is at the heart of service provision. We need to start by clarifying what matters to people now and in the future, and to develop creative solutions to delivering what people want, so their outcomes. Therefore, exploring how assistive technology, as well as how friends, family, community and different housing models can go some way in helping to deliver individual outcomes and increase choice and control is essential. Here's how the process can work in practice. So imagine that you're supporting 4 to 6 people in shared accommodation. Where we start is by clarifying what their individual budget allocations are and separating out what's shared and what's in the person's individual control. We also begin to gather information about what matters to them. The next step is to use the Planning Live process, a 2-day inclusive planning event, to develop each person's outcomes and to translate these and what and who else matters to them into something that we would call their perfect week. Now, the perfect week is a perfect balanced week, so it's not cocktails on the beach every day. It's how do we live a life that makes sense to us, that helps us move towards our outcomes, but also how do we do that in a way that keeps us healthy and safe and well enough to live that life as well. Then we consider the perfect week and we look at creative ways of delivering it. And in doing this, we ask the following questions. So can friends, family and community help to deliver on that perfect week? Have we got the housing situation right, or are there other creative housing situations that we need to look at? Is there anything that staff could be doing differently, and are they best matched to the person and how they want to spend their time? And really crucially, can assistive technology provide any of the answers? In this situation, we're thinking about assistive technology as a potential way of helping people achieve their outcomes and deliver on the life that they want, rather than a traditional approach where a general assessment might be done around the environment for assistive technology. When we've explored these options, we can then look at personalising the rota so that we can implement the perfect week within existing resources. We then use the person-centred review process to check learning, progress and update the support plan. So that's how it can work in practice. What I want to do now is introduce you to Lowry, who's going to be telling you more about some of the assistive technology solutions that Tunstall have been involved in delivering.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. So connected care is kind of the new way to explain how telecare and assistive technology can all link up to provide some of the outcomes that Michelle has been talking about and really kind of delivering more personalised care to the individual. So for those of you that haven't come across telecare before, what is telecare? It's the continuous, automatic and remote monitoring of real-time emergencies in order to manage the risks associated with independent living. Now, what that means is using a range of technologies to alert either a staff member or a family member that the person that's being supported needs some help. Now, that could be anything from a basic pendant alarm, which can be triggered at the press of a button for an individual to say, I need some assistance, to some more advanced solutions, which I will touch upon over the next 15 minutes or so. If we go to the next slide, please, Michelle. So this kind of shows how telecare works around the person. So we've talked about that personalisation. So we need to remember that the person is always at the heart of the solution. There's no one-size-fits-all with assistive technology. It's based around the needs of that individual. And there's so much technology available, as well as different ways that that technology can be managed. So we have the person at the heart of the solution, and then we see them either pressing a personal trigger to say, I need support, or one of their more complex sensors could be alerting that they have experienced an epileptic seizure or have experienced a fall and so on. That will then trigger a call through to one of two devices. The Care Assist is used where there is a staff member on site. Now, the Care Assist is just above the number 2, and it's a handheld device which will vibrate and make a sound to alert the staff member. It will tell them exactly which person and what sensor has been activated, and then they can respond to the individual. The other solution is a lifeline solution, which is linked to a monitoring centre. Now, the lifeline is either connected to a telephone line or to a mobile signal, and that will trigger a call through to the monitoring centre where they can talk to the individual, make sure that they're okay, and if they do need some additional support, can either contact a family member or staff that may live or be on call close by, and again, they can respond to the individual. Now, I'm going to move on to a case study now, because I think this will kind of explain how telecare comes alive and really does meet the outcomes desired by the individuals. Now, this is an example case study for a young gentleman called Tom. Now, Tom is 19 and has learning disabilities. He experiences autism and tonic-clonic epilepsy. He has recently moved closer to family in the Midlands from residential college to supported living. Recently, concerns have been raised around sleeping night staff knowing if Tom has a seizure or a fall during the night time. Now, he does have sleeping night staff, and he has recently been through transition, and of course, as many of you will know, that there's less funding available than the childhood team. So we need to kind of be more innovative and creative with our solutions. If we go to the next slide, we can see some of the solutions that we provided for Tom. So an assessment was carried out whilst working closely with Tom, his family, the college, the social worker and the occupational therapist. A tailored package of support which included elements of telecare was prescribed. Now, Tom received an epilepsy sensor. Now, this detected when he experienced a seizure at night time and would alert a member of staff on site. So the sleeping night would continue to sleep during the night time, but if they needed to be woken up due to an epileptic seizure, then the Care Assist would alert them that that incident had happened. A property exit sensor was also installed on his bedroom door. Again, by the Care Assist, this would alert staff that he had left his bedroom, and they could respond if he hadn't returned in a particular amount of time and so on. Now, one of the other creative solutions that was put in was a bed occupancy system, which linked with a bedroom lamp. Now, the bed occupancy sensor sits underneath the bed sheet and detects pressure, and it can tell if Tom has got out and back into bed again. This allows staff to only be alerted if Tom has been out of bed for a significant amount of time. Now, linking in with a lamp sensor is really clever, because as soon as Tom gets out of bed, his lamp will turn on, and when he gets back into bed again, it will turn off again, reducing the chance of him experiencing a fall at night time. Tom also wore an IV intelligent pendant during the day in case he had a fall. Now, the clever thing about the IV is that not only can Tom press the pendant to say, I need help, and to alert a member of staff. It will also recognise automatically if he has experienced a fall. That, as well as all the other sensors that supported him at night time, were all linked to the Care Assist. So importantly, the outcomes for Tom is that whilst maintaining his independence, this holistic approach managed some of the risk, but the technology also provided accurate information for the epilepsy nurse, allowing her to better manage Tom's condition. What that means is that the Care Assist can actually gather all the information of how often and how regularly Tom experiences epileptic seizures. That information then can be shown to the epilepsy nurse so that he or she can best prescribe his medication and the support necessary to manage his condition. So some great outcomes for Tom there. So move on to another case study. This is William, and he's in his 20s and has profound learning disabilities, Down syndrome, and experiences autism. At the time of the assessment, he was shortly moving into a shared house with 3 other people. William does like to drink milk in extreme large quantities, which can often cause him some health problems. William has also been known to flood the bathroom and on one occasion caused thousands of pounds worth of damage. So the solutions for William with a door sensor, a door open sensor was fitted on the fridge door. Now this sensor simply monitors when a door is opened and closed, and although they're traditionally used on external or internal doors, we can be a bit more creative and use them on cupboards and fridges as we have done in this situation. Now this sensor allowed the support team to be alerted discreetly when the fridge door is open, but without restricting access for William and others to the fridge, which may deprive them of liberties. So without kind of causing too much of an issue, if William was opening the fridge door, they can be alerted and go and monitor the situation to see if he was, again, drinking excessive volumes of milk. A flood detector was also placed in the bathroom, which gave William complete privacy whilst in the bath, but alerting staff to any issue. Now the flood detector is simply placed on the floor in the bathroom and detects water levels if the bath overflows, for instance. But what this does mean is that staff can be alerted if the bath does overflow or the bathroom does flood, but it means he does not have to be monitored whilst he's having a bath. So it gives him that kind of privacy and dignity. So the outcomes for William is that he and the people he shares his home with have complete access to the fridge and the contents within it with no restriction. But William can enjoy his bath as well in private, knowing someone will support him if too much water is on the floor. So there are 2 great examples of real case studies where assistive technology has really kind of given some good outcomes for individuals and outcomes that they wanted to reach themselves. We're just going to touch upon some more desired outcomes outside of these case studies that you may, or the people you support with, may want to achieve. So one of the outcomes may be ensuring someone is kept safe in their home, away from any dangers that may be posed by strangers and so on. Now, the way we'd achieve this is through a bogus caller. Now, the bogus caller can be raised by pressing it by the individual in their home, and this is silent to any kind of stranger or person that may be coming to the door. So the individual themselves won't be putting themselves at risk by making it known that they have called for help. But the monitoring centre or a local member of staff can listen into the situation and manage as appropriate. Michelle, if you can just click along to, brilliant, thank you. So another one is how we can notify if someone has experienced an epileptic seizure during the night time. Now we've already talked about the epilepsy sensor. So like Tom, it can alert someone locally that someone is experiencing an epileptic seizure, meaning that medication and the right support can be delivered to them as soon as possible. So the next outcome may be if a person needs to talk to someone or get some help. So it might be that an individual is about to be living on their own for the first time, or be without a waking night's support for the first time in their life. Now, it might be that when they feel kind of anxious or concerned, or may need some guidance about how to work something at night time, or they may feel unwell, they might just want to press a pendant and just speak to someone, or kind of alert someone to go and see them and support them if necessary. Now, this can be something as simple as a lifeline unit, which is connected again to a monitoring centre or a local member of staff. The button on the lifeline unit can simply be pressed, which will trigger the call, or a pendant can be worn or can be installed to the side of the bed somewhere familiar to the individual, so that when they feel that they need that support or reassurance, they can press the button. So finally, how will I know if a person has left their house at any time of the day or a certain time of night? A door contact, such as with the fridge, can be placed on either the internal or the external doors. Now, this can be assigned to 24 hours a day, so that someone can be alerted at any time if an individual leaves the property. But more commonly, we kind of assign these to specific time frames. For example, you may want to know someone is leaving their property between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. and so on. But that again is down to the individual and what their desired outcomes may be. This can either alert an on-site staff member using again the care assist, which will vibrate and make a noise to alert a sleeping night or waking night staff that an individual has either left their bedroom or left the property. Or if the person's living alone, this again can be linked to a lifeline unit, which will alert a monitoring centre who can deal with that appropriately. Now, connected care, so we're talking about all this assistive technology and telecare and how it all links in around the individual, can support not only the person that you're supporting, it can support you as an organisation and can also support family and support workers. So we're just going to go through some of those points now. So the way it supports the individual, I hope, is quite clear from the discussions that we've had around the case studies and outcomes so far. But it's the personalisation of long-term support. It can increase dignity, choice and independence. It responds to immediate needs. So rather than kind of hourly, 2-hourly checks, this assistive technology, this connected care, will tell you as soon as an incident has happened, allowing the staff member or family member to respond immediately. Improve quality of life, safety and well-being. It assists people to remain in their own homes, and it helps them develop their skills. Now, for the organisation, it can support with reviews and demonstrate appropriate hours required. It can encourage independence, choice and control for the individual that you're supporting. It can support you in managing risks, gives you accurate data. You can monitor sleep patterns, epileptic patterns and so on for professionals. We discussed how Tom's epilepsy nurse used that information, how frequently epileptic seizures were happening, to prescribe appropriate medication. And it can reduce hospital stays and admissions. Now finally, the family and support workers, it can reduce stress and anxiety that often goes with supporting a person with learning disabilities. It's reassurance, so knowing that you will be alerted if the person that you are supporting or your loved one does suffer a fall or an incident that might make them unwell or put them at risk. It provides greater personal freedom, often giving people the ability to remain or return to employment. And it provides 24-hour real-time remote monitoring. Once connected care is put into someone's home, there's not a minute where a person isn't being isn't able to call for help. So, if they feel that they need reassurance, they can press their pendant at any time. It's not a 9 to 5 service. So That's it from me. I think Michelle's going to give us an opportunity to answer some questions that any of you may have shortly, but I'm going to hand over back to Michelle at this point, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Lowry. So what I want to do now is show you a short animate of how this kind of process works in practice. So rather than talk through it, I thought I'd let the video do the talking.
Roger lived with 3 other people, and his support was managed by the team leader, Bob. Roger had just been involved in Just Enough Support, and one of the things that wasn't working for him was around his sleep. He said he didn't sleep very well and sometimes gets up at night. Bob wanted to look at whether assistive technology could help at all because they were worried about Roger falling. So the first thing Bob did was introduce him to Dennis. Dennis was the assistive technology person. Dennis asked Bob if he could come and meet him and the staff. They worked out a time and a date that worked for Roger and for Dennis. Dennis came and met the team and explained the different options that are available to them looking at a sensor. He explained that if Roger wakes up at night and gets out of his bed, the light will come on so he could see, which might stop him from falling. If he did fall over, staff would be with him within 20 minutes. And if he wanted to leave the room, that was fine. There's a door sensor that will let staff know they can get up and check if you need anything. Roger agreed to give this a try, so Dennis came and installed the equipment. He worked out with Roger whether 20 minutes sounded okay as enough time for staff to come and see him. He showed the staff how to use it and checked that they felt confident with it. He explained that there was a helpline as well. A week later, Bob, the manager, checked out with Roger whether this was working for him, and he also asked the staff what was working and not working from their perspective. Roger said, "I don't want staff checking on me up to 20 minutes. Half an hour would be better for me." So Bob emailed Dennis to see if he could arrange to come over and sort that out. Dennis set the timer for 30 minutes instead. Then, at every team meeting, Bob made sure that they thought about how the assisted technology was going, how was the sensor working, and he used the 4+1 to ask what have we tried, learned, what are we pleased about, what are we concerned about around Roger's nighttime support, and is there anything that we need to do next. After 6 months, there was a person-centred review, and Roger and the staff again looked at how things were going at night for Roger and what was working and not working for him. Roger said it was working fine, but could he just let staff know if he was okay instead of using a timer? Bob said, "Let's ask Dennis." This story illustrates how we can use person-centred practices around just enough support to figure out the best ways to use assistive technology. What are the problems or what are the opportunities that we have to use it? How can we use it in a person-centred way? How can we use what's working and not working to check out how it's working for the person and the staff as well? And checking through team meetings and person-centred reviews to keep finding out what's working and what we need to change to make sure that Dennis doesn't fall at night. So instead of just doing assisted technology assessments on everyone, it's really important that we link them into the perfect week and just enough support so we can target the best use of assistive technology and use person-centred practices to keep checking what we're trying and learning.
So that's one way of thinking about the process for utilising assistive technology. But assistive technology isn't just about telecare, and in this world of apps and smartphones and iPads, we need to kind of think about other ways of using assistive technology to help people achieve their outcomes. So here's one more short video to help us think about that.
Usually, when we think about assistive technology, we think about it just in the context of keeping people healthy and safe. But if we think more broadly than that and think about apps and assistive technology, we can think about a wide range of ways to help people live their perfect week. We used the headings and adapted them from Think Local App Personals markers for progress, and we looked at how assistive technology and apps can help in relation to choice and control, community, money, health and safety, and information. If we look at apps and assistive technology for choice and control, at a most basic level, there's the TV remote. And then there's more sophisticated apps for iPads and smartphones that can really support people to communicate. And you can find out more about those through your local speech and language therapist. And then there's apps and assistive technology around community, both for maintaining existing relationships and friendships and for finding out what's going on locally. So this might include a digital photo frame to enable people to see the people that matter to them. It might include being in contact with people over Skype or FaceTime or social media. It might be using the What's On app or TripAdvisor to make decisions about where to go. Then in relation to money, you can get live balance updates from banking. You could use things like Shop for Support to manage an individual or personal budget. And there's a Red Laser app to help people understand how much things cost via barcodes. When we think about health and safety, again, there's a wide range of things, from video door entry screens to epilepsy centre mats to just checking and carbon monoxide detectors. Even wee exercise could be a way to help people be healthy and safe. And then finally, information. Apps and assistive technology give us great opportunities to find out more about what's going on locally. For example, the Trafford Council app is a way that you can check on refuse collection and report an issue, right down to using Kindles to get PDFs of information to read very easily. So when you're looking at just enough support and you're wanting to see whether assistive technology can help people, think beyond just health and safety. Think apps as well as assistive technology and explore what we can do to enable people to have more choice and control, to be connected in their community, to feel in control of their money, have the information they need, as well as being healthy and safe.
So we're really excited to be working in partnership with Tunstall to deliver on people's outcomes, and what we believe is really good person-centred planning when combined with telecare assistive technology can only be a win-win situation. So thank you for listening to our webinar today, and I'd like to invite any questions. So if you are typing your questions in, please do so, and Larry and I will do our best to answer them. One question that has come through that might be good for you to answer, Larry, is how discreet are these type of assistive technology options when they're in somebody's ordinary home? Are you able to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does depend on what the solution is, but if you're kind of thinking about Tom's case study where he had an epilepsy sensor, now that is simply put between the mattress and the bed sheet, so it's not visible. It's not going to cause any of his friends or anything to ask questions about what it is or cause him any embarrassment or anything. It's very much hidden. The same with the bed sensor. That's actually placed between the bed and the mattress. So again, it's not visible to anyone that wouldn't know that it was there. Sensors such as the door open sensors are very small. If you think about kind of little magnets, and they're normally placed towards the top of the doors and so on, and can often just look like bolts and so on. So they kind of fit into a property's own kind of look of things that you'd normally expect to see on doors and so on. So these are not big pieces of technology that are going to cause any major changes to the appearance of the home. Even the Lifeline unit, which is the solution that connects some of the technology to a monitoring centre, is so modern looking now. It almost kind of hides itself as what I've described to look as a bit of a broadband type hub. So it shouldn't cause any major change to someone's life or their home environment by having this technology installed. It's designed to be discreet.
Brilliant, thank you. Another question is, tell us more about the bogus caller. What exactly is it?
So the bogus caller is a small button, and it can be installed traditionally on the inside of the home. Now, if someone was to come to the front door, for example, and put the person who is being supported at unease, they may feel frightened, they may not know who this person is. It does take some kind of educating to explain that if maybe a stranger does come to the door, makes you feel uncomfortable, tries to come into the property, that you simply press this pendant. So traditionally we recommend that they're installed near the front door, sometimes on the internal door frame. Now, pressing the bogus caller won't make any sound, it won't alert the person that's trying to enter the property or that is at the front door that any alarm has been raised, meaning that the individual themselves is not putting themselves in danger. But if it's linked into a monitoring centre, for example, they can listen in and hear everything. It will also be recorded, and there have been some examples of when that information has actually been used in court to prosecute individuals who have been causing harassment and so on. So the monitoring centre can listen into what's going on in the home and can deal with that appropriately, either alerting the police, a member of staff that's working locally, or a family member.
Great stuff. And the last question that I've got here is, what happens if the technology fails for whatever reason? What's the backup plan?
So if it fails, as in doesn't go, the technology stops working, or?
Yeah, I don't really know what's behind that question, but it might be if it stops working, or what if there's a power cut?
Okay, so if there is a power cut, although the lifeline, for example, does work via being plugged into a power socket, it does have a backup battery. So if there is a power cut, the backup battery will kick in so that kind of fail-safe is put in place. The technology itself, so the kind of different items such as the pendants, such as the epilepsy sensor, bed sensors, all work via batteries. Now, all the technology has the ability to kind of automatically tell you when the batteries need replacing well in advance of when that would run out. So the technologies themselves are battery operated. You would be alerted when that battery needed changing, and the system that is linked to the monitoring centre, if the power does fail for some reason, then the backup battery will kick in.
Brilliant, thank you. I haven't got any more questions. I don't know if you've received any, Lowry, or if that's us done for the day.
No, I can't see any questions at all.
I can't see any either. So, thinking about assistive technology as well as person-centered planning, so it feels like a really good place to be in when we're attempting to deliver on outcomes for people during times when we've got restricted budgets, and so that we can really maximise the use of the resources that we have and stretch them as far as possible, whilst doing that in a really person-centred way. Now, if you have any questions for either Lowry or myself around either the planning, the assistive technology, or how we can support you in our partnership to deliver on this, please get in touch with us at either michelle@helensansonassociates.co.uk or lowry.fonjones@tunstall.com. Thank you very much for taking part in today's webinar. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.